All right, howdy everybody. Welcome to tutorial number 1 for sourdough bread baking. What I have here, got my little counter set up, ready to go to get our initial mix in and start our auto lease. I've got our bowl with warm water, kitchen scale. You won't need this because I'll have everything already weighed out. However, I'm using it because I still need to weigh some things. I've got my sourdough starter in these jars right here. I only have small ones right now, which is why there's 2 different ones. And then here I've got my flour. I do have this already weighed out, again, like yours, which is a bread flour as well as salt already mixed into it. So 500 grams of bread flour and 10 grams of salt. When you see me working with this today, you're gonna see it's gonna look a lot bigger. That's because I'm making a double batch. So trying to pay too close attention to the size versus what you'll be making, because you'll be making half this. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna get my scale turned on, get it tailored up. All right, so I'm working with here about 750 grams of water, as well as temperature is right about 100 degrees. Again, you don't need to be exact, just needs to be kind of lukewarm water. So when you kind of put your fingertips, just feels sort of tepid. All right, so when I give you your package or your little pack or whatever, your sourdough starter will already be weighed out, hopefully be ready to go as well. As you can see here, it's really bubbly. It's kind of like a dome top to it. Same with this one right here. So we're gonna go ahead, I need to weigh it out, make sure it's the right amount, but we're gonna go ahead and put the sourdough starter directly into this warm water. As I'm doing this, you may be able to see, I can't tell 100% if you're able to see it or not, but you'll see that flour and sourdough starter, it's floating on top of the water or near the top of the water. That's because of the yeast releasing their gases, traps air inside that dough, obviously causing it to be buoyant and float. That's a really good sign. That's what you want to see in your starter. It's not always a hard and fast rule about sourdough starters, but it's a good general rule of thumb for it. So, all right, I've got my sourdough starter, what I needed in my water. So I'm gonna get my scale moved away here. All right, so my hands have been washed, they're all clean. So I'm just going to break this starter up and kind of get it all dispersed and incorporated into the water. It doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to be perfectly mixed in. We just want it to break up a little bit because I'm showing you a little bit of a quicker way to do the auto lease, save you a little bit of time. All right, so got that. Like I said, again, it's not perfect, but it's close enough. It's kind of milky, kind of weird looking. All right, now we're gonna slowly move to mixing our dough, or our flour rather, into our water. So this process takes a little bit of time, not a lot, but you want to be patient with it and kind of go slow. So just move a little bit of flour, a little bit at a time, and just kind of start mixing it in slowly. This will just make your life easier. You certainly can dump it in all at once. It's just going to take a little bit more effort to get it all mixed in. But you won't harm anything by dumping it all in one. Of course, you'll get flour everywhere. So just prepare yourself for that. You'll have flour all over your pants and shirt, all over your hands, stuck in your fingernails. It's a fun game to play. While I'm doing this, I will let you know. So I do highly recommend, if you get dough or kind of flour water mixture on any surface, I would recommend wiping it up relatively soon, because once it starts to harden, it sort of turns into concrete and becomes a little bit more difficult to clean off. Again, not impossible, but just trying to make your life a little bit easier. All right, so got all this mixed in here. So I believe in the written instructions, I have, to get your hands in here and really go at it. Probably should have left one clean hand for the tutorial purposes, but whatever, too late now. Anyway, so again, what I'm doing here, I'm just slowly mixing it in, just kind of a pinch and squeeze. We are not looking to develop gluten in our dough just yet. We are only looking at this point to get the flour fully hydrated and mixed in with the water and sourdough starter so that it's well incorporated. So while I'm doing this, like I said, you just gotta kind of go by feel. How does the dough feel? What does it look like? Do you see any dry spots? Obviously, you can see there's still a whole bunch of dry spots in there. So I'm just kind of working the dough around right here. So when you see me say on the tutorial or the instructions, when I talk about shaggy, this is kind of what I'm talking about. See how this doesn't really look like anything. It's just kind of like this shaggy, weird dough ball. So that's what we're looking for. Let me get some better light here. So you can kind of see, kind of looks like this, kind of a little bit of a mess. So shaggy mess is what they kind of call it. That's what I call it anyway. All right, so we're getting there, getting close, but there's still some in the bottom, so I'm just kind of picking it up. As I told you, don't be afraid to get your hand in here, because while you can, if you really just are adverse to getting your hands dirty, want to use a utensil, you certainly can, but don't be surprised when it breaks. All right, so again, just kind of squeezing everything together. As I already said, we're not trying to develop the gluten. This whole process that we're doing right here is only for us getting everything mixed together and getting the dough hydrated. Yes, this is when I talk about when it's sticky, this is gonna happen. Get used to it. It's part of sourdough bread baking. So, all right, so we're almost there. Again, I wanna try to get a close up of the shaggy dough here. Looks good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause right here. So at this point, I'm done mixing it. I'm gonna stop mixing. So I don't wanna mix this anymore because I don't want any gluten development just yet. It's really important that the flour that we put in here fully absorbs all the water. Flour doesn't absorb water right away. It takes a little bit of time, about 20 to 30 minutes. This is important for the main reason of making sure your dough rises and holds its shape properly. So letting this dough hydrate for 20, 30 minutes is really important before we start working with the dough and turning it into its final shape. So these videos are gonna be broken up into individual tutorials, but it's fun just to take note of what this looks like right now, because it looks like the least thing from bread, but you'll be pretty shocked at how this comes together in later videos. So I believe that is everything for tutorial 1. Oh yeah, so before you do that, obviously make sure this is covered, put in a safe place. Recommended warm, 72 degrees or not, but you don't have to be picky. My house is like 68 right now, so it's no problem. But you do want to make sure it's covered and doesn't dry out. All right, see you next one.